시작. 자, 나 잠만 소원 빌게. 좋았어. 늦네. 오케이. 이렇게 볼게. 고마워.
Okay. All right, welcome back. There be or stream. If you're watching on the replay, consider like, comment your thoughts, or subscribe if you like MADEIN or any other Eastern drama. That said, we're gonna look at legal mindset, which it would appear his Discord is clearly getting nuked because, and also style entries done before, which is very needed. No person just coming in. Some low rent. Yeah. Okay. With that little update on his side, we're gonna watch a video. We're gonna watch these. We're gonna get to these two at the end. So let's.
Hey everyone, Andrew Esquire here. Tonight we're going to talk about some nuisance streamers and some folks being really annoying in Thailand and Vietnam. And we've talked a lot about Johnny Somali in Korea, Vitali over there in the Philippines, and we've talked about a lot of streamers that are problematic in Japan. But these are not the only countries that are affected by this. This is in fact a global problem and a phenomena that's in a lot of places. And when I saw incidences in Thailand, of course, the country of my main residence, in Vietnam, a country which I love and which I have visited and I think is a great country. I know many expat friends there. I thought I got to cover that tonight on the show in this kind of new news segment. Of course, this is a legal mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. Smash that like button if you enjoy my coverage of the nuisance streamer topic. So the first one I'm going to bring to you was forwarded to me by a fan, and this one was an incident in Vietnam. This one is a situation where there were some folks that were getting into it with the street vendors in Hanoi, and you can see some behavior here. And once again, it's very unfortunate because this sort of abusive behavior, particularly by people that are probably American, Canadian, it seems based on their accents and their appearance, it sets the wrong image of Americans, Canadians, Westerners abroad, particularly here in Asia, this being in Vietnam. So you can see here, and I'll pop myself in the corner. You can see here, this guy, of course, this is the Westerner, American, Canadian guy in the white shirt with the fake Gucci shorts, kind of squared up against the vendor. And we'll let this play out. One.
Look at you. Look at you.
Pointing, laughing, making he sounds like some form of monkey when he's doing the laugh there. It's just incredibly immature. I'll let this finish. And apparently he ended up taking that shoe and throwing it somewhere. So once again, an annoying incident over there in Vietnam, and something once again it shows this is not limited to something that only happens in Korea or Japan, because those countries are perceived as quote unquote weak. This sort of behavior, the annoying behavior and the behavior that really is unacceptable, can happen in any country, including the countries here in Southeast Asia. Now, the next phenomena I wanted to bring up that's kind of been going around, and this did start. Most of the streamers that I saw doing this were out of were really operating in Northeast Asia. But I've seen a kind of phenomenon of the dancing on a train with a speaker. And apparently this is a nuisance streamer strategy that is percolating. It's getting around. And people are copycatting this. So this, I think, is one of these trends that you're going to see a lot of people doing because they're getting away with it. They're kind of getting away scot-free. None of them are being, punished or fined or kicked out of the country, deported, whatever. So I think this is something that is gonna continue. Now I covered this with this guy here once again with these videos. I won't play them because they are potentially violating copyright because the songs they play are copyrighted songs. But that said, this guy over here was in a Japanese train and he ended up causing quite an issue in Japan. People were kind of mad about that. And these folks tend to operate on TikTok because of, more permissive music rules, I guess, there. And they're racking up quite a number of views by taking these JBL speakers, these wireless speakers, which are kind of just a larger version of what Johnny Somali uses and many of the other nuisance streamers use, taking them in the middle of public transportation and blasting music. Now, as you can see, not everybody's happy about that. Pretty much everybody is looking at this guy like, what the hell are you doing? Clearly, when these people do it, they're not asking for permission. They're just going and doing it. And they're causing issues all across Asia. And this came to Southeast Asia recently. And this is an article by the Bangkok Post with a Iranian Persian influencer, you could call him that, nuisance streamer, who ended up blasting music on the Bangkok MRT. So this is the subway. So he essentially dragged a speaker through the Bangkok subway, blasting music, and he was confronted by locals who were like, "Yeah, what the hell are you doing? Stop that! Don't do that here. That's inappropriate." Which I think is laudable. Now, according to this,
reasonable.
There was a little bit of debate about this, with some people saying that this was not such a big deal, and that locals were being overdramatic here in Bangkok, but actually. Others, and I think looking at the traffic on this and looking at the coverage of this, the majority of people view this as disrespectful and inappropriate. And the majority of people supported those that spoke up and confronted this guy when he was dragging, once again, you see the same JBL speaker, the same thing, right? Copycatting, because they're seeing everybody getting views for this. So this is the next big thing. This is the next trend to watch out for. And, if you're in Southeast Asia or Northeast Asia, really anywhere in the world, and you see people doing this, know that this is the nuisance streamer thing now, is to bring these speakers in public and drag them through. And I've had a pretty consistent take on this. I already commented on the individual in Japan, but my take on this is this. If you want to do that in a public park, that's fine. That's probably the appropriate place for a speaker. If you want to bring a speaker to Central Park or to Yoyogi Park in Japan, and you want to play music in what is a public space that is acceptable in, that's fine. And you can do that there. The problem is that would not get the views for them. They know that the views and the clout and the clicks don't come from doing things that you could do. They come from doing things that you should not do and that are impermissible, in many places criminal, right? You're disrupting public transit, right? You're disrupting a lot of people. And while there may be some people on that train that don't care or might even enjoy the music, maybe they like the same music as you. I think this guy was blasting, BTS or something else like that. Maybe there's some BTS fans that don't care. The problem is the majority of people do care. The majority of people do not want that. The majority of people are not okay with that. And it is not culturally okay or appropriate at all to do this, particularly in East and Southeast Asia, Northeast Asia. It is not appropriate to be blasting anything, whether it's your ringtone or having a loud phone call or blasting a speaker. It's not appropriate on the train. It's not appropriate on public transit. It's not the place to do it. And the only reason why these people are getting views is because of that. So my view on this guy is, hey, he should have just been deported and maybe have a travel ban from the country for a period of time. So there's some sort of consequence. Do I think they should be thrown in jail for 30 years? No. People often over dramatize my position as if there's a minor offense, throw them in jail forever, life in prison, death penalty. No. But I do think these people need to have a consequence. And that consequence should be being removed from the country, being deported, perhaps having a ban for a year or two, or maybe even longer if you want, from coming back to the same country, so they feel a consequence for their action, and they aren't just rewarded with TikTok views, clicks, and internet clout for whatever that's worth. Because to the extent that we continue to reward these folks with not punishing them with no consequences, they will do it more and more and more. They're not going to stop just because one or two people are annoyed. They need to have some sort of legal consequence that will stop that action. But what do you guys think? Do you think it's not a big deal? Do you think it's an overreaction regarding playing music on a train? What do you guys think? I'm interested to hear it in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
And I agree with everything he said, because that's the only way to get people to stop.
Celebrate Zach
And Russia time.
songs. James, the household chef and student.
So what did Vitaly do to deserve to get to basically disowned by Russia?
Today we have some breaking news about the case of Vitaly in the Philippines. And today we know that Russia has officially disowned Vitaly. That's right. They want nothing to do with his shenanigans. Of course, this is a legal mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney here in Asia, covering the downfall of these nuisance streamers like Vitaly and like Johnny Somali, who think they can come to other countries and take advantage of their hospitality, of their politeness, of their high trust cultures, and get away with literal crimes. So in this case, we've covered of Vitaly. Obviously, things are not going well for them. He is locked up and facing 2 to 3 years even before he hits his trial, and then several years in jail after that, even based on conservative estimates. But beyond that, a lot of people are looking for the international response of the US, of Russia, of countries where he stayed and has citizenship. And a lot of people were asking questions too. Well, what's going to happen with Russia? Is he going to be sent back to Russia? What's going to go on there? We have the first really big public response from Russia, and that's to disavow him, to say they want nothing to do with him, and to actually call out his actions as something that Russians should not emulate. So I've got this news article here from GMA News. This is the ambassador to Russia over here at the top, Murat Pavlov, at the Russian embassy in the Philippines. So going through this, Russia's top diplomat to Manila advised Russian travelers to strictly follow Philippine laws after a popular Russian-American prankster was arrested for harassing Filipinos. Vitaly Zorovetsky, a vlogger with over 10 million followers on YouTube, where he posts prank videos in countries he visited, was apprehended by Philippine authorities in April for his series of law-breaking stunts. Zorovetsky, who goes by the content creator named Vitaly, drew the ire of netizens after uploading videos of him harassing Filipinos while filming around Bonifacio Global City. Of course, we've covered that. He committed multiple crimes very clearly on camera, during what he called his demon time, trying to steal a service weapon, stealing various objects, threatening to rob an old woman, as well as harassing people when he was in Boracay as well. So Boracay, Bonifacio Global City, really going on a true crime streak. And the ambassador says here, Russians, are obligated to be in conformity with the law of the country they are staying in, said Russian.
I think that's how it should be. It's like going to someone's house. You follow their rules, not what you view as the rules.
Ambassador Murat Pavlov. So to be very clear, what he's saying in here is you are obliged to follow local laws. This is what I've been saying from the beginning. And this is the thing that really is so crazy that it has to be said to the modern generation of streamers, particularly nuisance streamers. They think that they are not obliged to follow the very basic laws of the countries they are in. They think they're immune from them. They think they don't have to follow them because they have a certain passport. And the Russian ambassador has it right on the nose here when he says, hey, listen, it doesn't matter whose passport you have, whether it's American, Russian, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, whatever, you need to follow the local laws. That is something that The fact that it has to be explained to people is insane. The fact that it has to be put out there is really nuts, because there is a generation of people, there's a whole cohort of people that are saying, hey, look, we don't need to follow these rules because, hey, I'm an American, I'm a Russian, I'm whatever. I don't need to follow these rules. That's not true. You absolutely do. And you will be held to the standard of those countries. Do not be surprised if you violate a law in that country, if you are treated as that law system would treat you. And Vitaly is certainly finding out about Philippines justice. So let's continue with this, because he has some more really good statements here. So there's around, according to the embassy data, 5,000 Russians living in the Philippines. That's a significant number, and 30,000 visited for tourism in 2004. Pavlov says he generally finds that many Russians residing in the Philippines are disciplined, really disciplined. And I would agree with that, by the way. There's a lot of Russians here in Thailand as well. I find they're very disciplined, very polite people, often family people, really great people to deal with and to very respectful. I don't see issues with most people. And this is not just Russians. This is true of most people. Most tourists know how to be respectful, know how to be polite, know how to care for the local culture, know how to give back, know how to contribute. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult to come to a country and follow their laws and follow their culture. It's a very simple thing. And if you cannot do that, if you have the inability to do that, stay home.
Don't go if you can't follow the laws. Don't go. I think that's simple.
It's just a prank, bro.
No,
does not get you out of jail
really.
for free. It really does not. And the fact that some people think that that is a get out of jail free card, it doesn't work that way. And it's a disrespect to the people that are there residing lawfully and respectfully. And here's the kicker. At the same time, Pavlov expressed hope that Russian visitors will not face discrimination despite Zordovetsky's behavior, and that future cases involving Russians will be handled discreetly by Filipino authorities. So this is very clear here. It's a condemnation of Vitaly's behavior, saying, hey, we don't want everybody else to be held to that standard because it's pretty crazy. What he did was insane. It was illegal, and it was inappropriate. It was absolutely inappropriate. And for him to do that is something that no country is going to come out there and save him. And if the message that they would have sent, if they were going to come save Vitaly, would have been, okay, well, we stand against the Philippines here. We think that he's unjustly detained. We think that he's been taken with no due process, etc. And they would have come and said, we're standing up for Vitaly. But instead, they have not only rejected, they said, we disown that behavior, and we hope that his bad example, that what he did that is clearly wrong, is something that is not held against other people. And by the way, I don't think that Filipinos are going to hold it against other Russians. I think it's very welcome for people to come. Same way in Korea. I feel Korea is welcome for Americans, is welcome for all people, despite Johnny Somali, right? Same thing with Vitaly. I think the Philippines is still one of the most hospitable places I've been to in the world. I think Philippines hospitality is second to none. It's absolutely amazing. And I don't think that changes because of Vitaly. I think Filipinos and Filipinas are smart enough to know, hey, look, this was a bad egg. This was someone that was a exception, not just for Russians, but for all people. And
I think for most people can tell the difference between what these people are doing and just someone who wants to go to that country.
The vast majority of people that come to the Philippines as tourists are having a great time. And that's shown because year after year, the more and more tourists visit the Philippines. Now, of course, there's been a little hiccup with COVID. Obviously, things are still recovering after that. But we see the trends generally over time, if you smooth them out, going up. More people come to the Philippines, love the Philippines, have an amazing time in the Philippines, and they come back. And they're respectful. They have good things to say about it. And I think that's a pattern that will continue in the future. And I hope that people that see this message, if you're thinking about coming to the Philippines, please do come. One of the best things you can do to stand up to Vitaly, to oppose him, is to go to those countries, be respectful, and be a good example. But let me know, what do you guys think? Like the video if you like my coverage of some of the nuisance streamers, of Vitaly, of this case. I want to know in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
Prediction
In the
time.
next 30 seconds, I'm going to show you how to.
You don't.
We can now make a prediction on how many years Johnny Somali may stand behind bars. Of course, this is Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney living over here in Asia. And on top of this Johnny Somali, Ramzi Khalid Ismail case in Seoul, South Korea. Now, our members of the Somali conviction team, that is a team of people that is working to put away Johnny Somali, has been doing a lot of work. And one of the things that we did not previously translate, which we now have translated and over for you guys, is actually the sentencing guidelines. I hadn't seen or heard about these until very recently, actually, because we're just moving into the phase where they become relevant. That is the phase as we look at guilt and innocence and as we look at what the punishment will ultimately be. And sentencing guidelines are commonly used around the world, including in the United States. We have sentencing guidelines in most jurisdictions for criminal acts, criminal penalties, which generally say, okay, if a criminal has these characteristics, this is the level of punishment we give them. And generally what that is meant to do is to separate out first-time criminals or criminals that might have some, mitigating factors, that is lessening factors, versus criminals that are really bad, that have aggravating factors. We're talking about repeat criminals, people that do things particularly heinous. So you want to punish a little bit differently, and there are some guidelines for that in most places, and Korea indeed has them. So we found those, and we're going to get into that today. And of course, I've got a little presentation for you. In that, I do want to give you some disclaimers. These are based on the 2024 sentencing guidelines. So there will be an update in July of 2025. So we're going to get an update before the trial is over. Of course, as you know, the next trial date for Johnny Somali is in August, so we'll have an update before the sentencing. The sentencing for Johnny Somali, we don't have a date on that. My best guess is very late in 2025, if not in 2026, when he's ultimately found guilty on all charges and sentenced. I think that's my estimate. But that said, of course, things can change, so this is my estimate as of date. And it is also just an interpretation based on the reading by myself and the Somali conviction team. It's our understanding, which once again, you need to understand may vary from the interpretation and ultimate decision by the judge, and also understand that guidelines can sometimes be varied from, so the judge may choose to put more weight in certain things and ignore other things. That's at the discretion of the judge. So that said, let's jump into it and look at some of the documents that relate to this. And we have what we have is we have all of these in a kind of PowerPoint format for each of the, or sorry, I have a PowerPoint for overall, but we have these in Adobe over here, and these are pretty good layouts in these tabs of what's going on with the sentencing for each charge. Now, there are a lot of statutes that relate to how you calculate the math, including a statute that says, okay, you take the first charge and you can go up to the maximum on that charge, but for subsequent charges that are the same charge, right, they're the same type of charge, like obstruction, like deepfakes, you take 50% of what would be the range for the charge for each additional one. And so the way that would work out is saying, okay, well, in this case, we're going to take for the aggravated minimum, right? For example, for obstruction, we're going to take 1 year for the first count, and then we've got 2 more. So that would be 6 months, 6 months, which 6 months, 6 months, 1 year, add that together, 2 years for the aggravated minimum. So there's 3 categories I'm going to walk you through here, and that is aggravated, minimum, and default. And just so you understand what this means, mitigated means there's a bunch of factors that make the defendant look good. They're very sympathetic. There's someone that the court should have pity on. This is a good boy. This is a good boy. Default is just a normal boy. It's a normal person. It's a regular person. Maybe they have both good and bad. Maybe kind of the good and the bad kind of cancel each other out. That's just kind of the default position. And then you have aggravated.
I don't think Johnny falls into the pity category.
And then you have the bad boys. And Ramsey
Wow.
Khalid Ismail, as we're going to see, has a lot of aggravating factors and not a lot of mitigating factors. A lot of those bad boy points, not a lot of the good boy points. So let's just read through some of these mitigating factors, and they're very similar for obstruction, deepfake sentencing. I'll just go through some of them here on this abbreviated fast facts version. But if you want to see me go through all of them, you can, of course, check out my full-length live. So let's look at some factors. Cases where there's a special reason to consider participation in the crime. Cases where the motive for the crime can be considered. Cases where the degree of power, hierarchy, or obstruction of business is minor. And cases where the crime is committed through negligence. If the actor is deaf or mute or has diminished capacity, right? If they were passively participating, right? If there was genuine remorse. Now, let's look over here on aggravating factors. When the offender actively led or directed commission of the crime, when committing the crime was particularly heinous, when the crime targeted multiple or unspecified victim and was repeatedly committed over a period. Did Somali do that? We'll continue. When the degree of obstruction was severe, when there's instigation of a subordinate, when there's a blameworthy motive for the crime, a motive perhaps like internet fame and clout and trying to farm this for clout and money, a repeat offense, previously convicted. So, by the way, remember, with 3 charges, even if they're in the same type of crime, that's a repeat offense. So, number 1 is first conviction, then second and third. Next is heterogeneous recidivism, different category of repeat offense. And then there's harm caused during settlement attempts. That doesn't count. And same category, prior prison sentence. So you've got in all of this, I consider seeing more aggravating factors, right? Such as actively leading it, right? Committing a kind of crime spree and also having horrible motive. That kind of falls more in aggravating than I think mitigating. For deepfakes, there's also a, oh, and by the way, let's go into the punishment here. So for a mitigated case, it's fine up to 8 months. For default case, it's 6 months up to a year, and then aggravated 1 year and 3.5. Now, mind you, this is just for one charge. So we have a summary table that puts this all together for you because we've got, remember, 3 obstruction charges. So we'll do the math for you at the end. And then we've got distribution of false images. That's deepfake. So there's 3 categories, and Johnny Somali is going to fall in the last one, distribution for commercial purposes. So if you create a deepfake, that's category 1. That's kind of one of the lighter ones. Then if you distribute it, that's category 2. But if you distribute it for commercial purposes, meaning you are making money on it, which Johnny Somali was, that is category number 3. So this is going to get this level of punishment, which is higher than production and distribution because you're distributing it and making money. So let's look at the mitigating factors for deepfakes. If there's particularly extenuating circumstances for the involvement, if the content of the edited, synthesized, processed, or reproduced materials is difficult to recognize, well, that's not true. If there's genuine remorse, if there's no prior criminal record, if there's general cooperation with the investigation. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, at every turn, Johnny Somali has said F you to the folks at
Not remorse. There's none of that.
law enforcement, at Seoul Law Enforcement, repeatedly over and over and over again. If you have passive participation, and then if you have somebody who's deaf, mute, diminished capacity, voluntarily surrendering, etc., and if the victim gave a waiver of punishment, that is not what happened here in this case. Next, if there's a large amount of profit, if there's harm caused during settlement negotiations, meaning coming after the victim, coming after the person that you're trying to settle with. Let's look at here. The method was heinous. If there's a blameworthy motive for the crime, once again, profit in internet clout. If the crime targeted unspecified or multiple victims or was repeated over a considerable period. If there's a vulnerable victim. If the crime caused severe harm to the victim or instigation of a subordinate. So I think that in this, you see more aggravating than you see more mitigating as well for the distribution of false images. So what does that mean for our overall time? Where's our count at given all of that stuff? Well, you can go over to, we'll go over here to our little presentation and I'll show you. We've got at least 6 months on the clock here. So let's look at this table. This puts everything together. This adds it all up and kind of gives you the different quadrants. So if this was absolutely mitigated, if the judge thought that Johnny was a good boy, then likely the minimum, assuming he is guilty for everything, the minimum would likely be around 6 months in behind bars.
So, all he did do, so if he was guilty and he was nice, all he would have gotten was 12 months. Johnny Pup. All you had to do was be nice. I guess you couldn't do that.
Because deepfakes, the minimum there would be 6 months. Obstruction, they could give a fine. So let's assume they give a fine. That would be 6 months. That would be 6 months. The default, that means if they're neutral, if it's neither good nor bad, right? 1 year for obstruction, 1 year, 6 months for deepfakes. That's 2 years and 6 months in a neutral position. Now let's go to if the judge thinks it's aggravated. And we have a lot of factors pointing towards aggravation. 2 years for obstruction, 2 years and 3 months for deepfakes, 4 years and 3 months as a minimum if the judge finds this aggravated. Let me say this once again. If Johnny Somali is, the judge finds that this is actually aggravated, the crimes were aggravated, not default, not mitigated, we're looking at 4 years and 3 months minimum. And that ranges up to 12 years based on 5 years as the maximum punishment you can get for obstruction and 7 years for deepfakes. That's because the way some of the statutes work, they actually limit the punishment for compound crimes, for similar type crimes. So the maximum is 5 and 7. So that maxes him out at 12. He could also technically, I guess, give 12 years and 30 days for the Minor Crimes Act, but that's neither here nor there. So we're looking at 12 years as that maximum there. Now, one last thing, there is the possibility of a suspended sentence. That's something that some people have kind of talked about or mentioned because it's something akin to like a parole system, or we might view it that way, like in a in kind of like a USI. But that is very unlikely, because just like with this, there are factors for the mitigation and aggravation of a suspended sentence, like whether it should happen or should not. And when we actually look at those factors for a suspended sentence, and we look at the consideration for suspended sentence, which is also found in the same guidelines, we see that it indeed usually falls on the side of aggravating and not on mitigating. So if you wanted a suspended sentence, you would want a lot of stuff here. Like, for example, seeing that the crime was spontaneously committed, that there was genuine remorse, that there are clear social ties, that there's no prior sentences, that the defendant's health is poor, that there's passive participation. So they were an accomplice. They weren't the one that did it. If they substantially restored damages, paid for everything. If they, let's see here, let's add some other ones here. If they have no other prior convictions of the same type. Let's see, if there are particularly mitigating circumstances regarding the participation of the crime. So it wasn't that bad in the overall context. If the content of the recorded material, what's seen, is not easily identifiable or ambiguous. If there's substantial measures taken to prevent further dissemination of harm, and if there's kind of voluntary surrender and kind of voluntary disclosure. These aren't things we have. The motive for the crime is reprehensible. Check. The crime victimized vulnerable individuals. Well, we've got a lot of women, we've got a lot of children, got a lot of folks out there that were targeted. If the crime targets unspecified or multiple victims, or has been repeatedly committed over a considerable period, we do have that. And if the method of committing the crime is particularly egregious, showing that to everybody. And then beyond that, here's a big one: absence of genuine remorse, lack of social ties, no
remorse at all.
Effort to restore damages, substantial illicit gains, which we do have, leading role, concealment or attempted concealment of evidence, and causing harm during settlement attempts. We've got a lot of those aggravating factors which lead to not giving a suspended sentence. So I don't think a suspended sentence is likely in the case of Johnny Somali. That's my read on that. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below. What do you think about the sentencing range? Do you think sort of that range of up to 12 years there is fair? Do you think you should get more? What do you think? Let me know, and I'll catch you all later.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
I think it's more than fair. Clearly, I don't think we're going to get to this one, but I linked it anyway. But, maybe we might get to it. Who knows?
Somali's stupidity agency has had a huge leak on Discord, and we now have some information which shows us a campaign of harassment, witness intimidation, impersonation, and all sorts of really bad behavior, which is going to hurt his case in court. Of course, this is a legal mindset where we teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney dedicated to stopping nuisance streaming and to pursuing the maximum penalty for Ramzi Khalid Ismail, aka Johnny Somali. So in today's case, we're actually going to be looking at a lot of stuff from Johnny Somali's Discord. I've got some comments right here from the general chat. Now, as a preface, this is all from his Discord community. Now, other than this first page, which is a general chat comment, almost everything we're going to talk about is from a private group. Another thing to note is there are several accounts impersonating me. Now, this one that I'm going to call fake, i.e. the fake legal mindset account, is actually not Johnny Somali, but one of his underlings. That's kind of clear from the language referring to him as the boss and seeking his opinion and approval and kind of being his top sycophant, his top simp. But Johnny himself has several fake legal mindset accounts, which he uses on a regular basis, which just shows you that I am living rent-free in his head, and I am enemy number one for them, which is really one of the things, in addition, that's exposed here in these leaks from his Discord, which, once again, he thought was fully secure, but we have access to every single inch and corner of his private conversations. Let's look over here. This is from the general chat. So this is just some language first here, talking about Fabarius and how they're talking to Bong Bong's friend and how information is getting out. But what happened in the general chat was, any talk about Bong Bong got deleted, and also any talk about the case got deleted. So what they ended up doing was,
what they're doing is censoring anyone talking about anything regarding the case.
Having a private group of what they were trying to call the Somali Intelligence Agency, but what I like to call the
Intelligence Not So Intelligent.
Somali Stupidity Agency. This was an area and where people wanted to try to gather information on Bong Bong, information on me, and try to produce documents that were intimidating, try to produce legal documents, try to turn things over to Johnny's lawyer. They thought they could come up with legal defenses, despite none of them being Korean, much less lawyers. They thought they could advise Johnny on his case. This is the blind and stupid leading the blind and stupid. It is absolutely moronic, and we have all of the proof of that today, which was leaked to us in this really bombshell Discord release. So you can see here that they're clearly working for Somali, that all these people were his agents. They were supposedly trusted, although Somali says, this is Johnny Somali on his account. He calls himself Somali Diddy. He also has another one, Somali Epstein, saying, don't trust anyone. Keep everything in here. Log it all. The irony is, by logging it all, it was all turned over to us. It was all revealed to you guys here today. So just to be in general, most of the stuff that was going on in this private chat, first of all, it begins with huge doxing attempts on me and my family, trying to attack me personally. Once again, I've said before, I don't really pay too much attention to that stuff. There's nothing they can do that can absolutely affect me. And absolutely, I will never stop covering this case, no matter how hard they try to attack me or create lies or defamation, etc. I am just going to continue pursuing these guys into the dirt. And we do still predict that Johnny will be convicted on all counts. And our coverage, the Somali conviction team, and what we are doing is all legal. It's all allowed and it's all covered under Korean law. Also, one big thing they mentioned during this in this private group is I often make updates and corrections with new information. Whenever I do that, they call it lies and misinformation. But what I call that is having integrity. When you find out new information and that changes your analysis, you update everybody on that. The difference between myself and Johnny Somali is Johnny Somali keeps maintaining the same statements and lines, even when the facts have changed under him, even when everything is clearly not true. Stuff like, oh yeah, you've got a new charge. Somali will say, no, there's no new charge. Legal mindset doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, now 7 new charges later, what does he got to say? Not much, because I've been proven right every single step of the way on.
Always right. I mean, not always, but for the most part, Andrew said one thing yet, and then it comes out to be true. So I think it's Johnny that doesn't know what he's talking about.
Everything involving his legal process. So it's just something where these guys are really incredibly misguided. So here we go. The first thing we have is witness intimidation. So we have several attempts to intimidate witnesses, most of which is Bong Bong. The key witness, which is going against her, Bong Bong is a female who had a deep fake made of her with Johnny Somali, where Johnny Somali asserts that he is Bong Bong's girlfriend. So you can see here, they're trying to threaten her. They're trying to threaten her and trying to say, oh, all of that can be stopped easily if she stops everything and just says, I don't want to be part of any Somali drama. I'm done. Leave me alone. Goodbye. See, they're trying to dox her and her family. They're trying to attack her. They're trying to make threats of violence against her and her family. And they're trying to say, hey, if you just don't testify, then we're going to leave you alone. That is classic witness intimidation, and this is incredibly aggravating in the eyes of Korea. Next is collecting evidence. So they're trying to collect evidence for Johnny's lawyer, whatever that means, but mainly what they're trying to do and what they think they can submit to court is evidence to shame her and make her look like a bozo, essentially to shame her for her sexuality, shame her for being a woman, and they think that's actually going to work. They think that's actually going to be an effective tactic. Of course, it is not. And that is not going to go well. And you can see here, this is from a show. You see this highlight here. We got to keep harassing her. The language is harass. So what they are trying to do is to spin facts with lies to misportray her personal life interactions with Johnny in order to prevent her from testifying, or if she does testify, sexually shame her and betray her as a bozo. So they're trying to make her look bad. They're trying to sex shame her and make her look horrible. And that is not going to look well in the eyes of the prosecution and the judge when they're trying to intimidate a female witness who is literally on here and bringing a sex claim. And in fact, very much proves that Johnny needs to be punished severely for this. Because he is trying to sexually shame her. They're also trying to start a narrative that she is a vexatious litigant, which means they call it a suing streamer. So someone who sues everybody. But the irony of this is this accusation isn't true of Bong Bong. It's true of Hank. It's true of the top ally of Johnny Somali, his roommate, his buddy, his possible lover, Han Jong-yu, that is here suing everybody, literally trying to sue everybody. In fact, Johnny, we're going to see himself, Ramzi Khalid Ismail, is trying to sue me. He's obsessed with trying to find any way to sue me at all possible. We're going to see that later on because I, of course, live rent-free in his head. So they call her a B word here. You can see you're nothing but a jealous bee.
Oh, let's try to pressure the prosecutor. That's going to go well. How do you think this is going to go? Good now.
They're trying to, intimidate her. They're trying to say the judge is going to laugh at you. They're trying to slut shame her. What's the judge and mommy going to say when they see what you do for a living? And they're also trying to say, oh yeah, you're not even attractive. I wouldn't even bork her. That says a lot. So look, they're trying to do that here. They're also trying to say that Johnny and her had sex, which in addition to saying that in lying about their relationship, because Johnny, of course, lied that he was in a relationship with Bong Bong. Now he's trying to lie and say they had sex. And of course, once again, you see here that they're afraid of me. The LMMFs will send them all types of shit to Ford. They're trying to hide this stuff from me because they know I'm going to turn it over to police and the prosecution. And they're trying to look for evidence of her saying that they had sex, which of course doesn't exist. Also here you see they're afraid of me turning this stuff into a presentation. You see my presentation there at the bottom. Once again, I live completely rent-free in their heads. Also, they don't know anything about the Korean system. See, here they say, I heard they don't do cross-examination like in the US. That's absolutely wrong. They absolutely do cross-examination, and the cross-examination will be withering. It will be a strong cross-examination that I very much look forward to. These guys are trying to get answers from Google or Grok as to the legal system in Korea, and it's just...
Yes, Grok is totally trustworthy. An algorithm-based thing. I mean, they'd probably tell you the answer, not the one you're looking for, but the one that's true. So maybe.
Silly. For example, here they say in a video that they posted. So they saw this video or had somebody talking about how if a witness doesn't show up, the case is dropped. That is actually ridiculous because, in fact, when I was there, we had a case that was postponed an entire year. And I watched this case play out where there was a witness that hadn't showed up for a year and they kept postponing the trial date. So all that's going to happen if the witness doesn't show up is Johnny's going to have to stay there for longer, and Johnny's case and procedure is going to take longer. The only person who would suffer would be Johnny. And by the way, they have enough proof to prove Johnny guilty regardless of whether the witness shows up. But by the way, I personally have spoken directly to Bong Bong. Yes, after they created all these fake legal mindset accounts to try to confuse Bong Bong, confuse her server, I spoke to her personally. We had a good conversation. She will be showing up. She will be there. So all of this intimidation, all these things are not going to stop Bong Bong from being there. But it just...
So the intimidation, I think, did worse.
Shows how far these people are willing to go to try to shame her. So once again, here you can see they are going and trying to compile evidence to help Somali. Once again, he's on his Somali Epstein account. He also has Somali Diddy. That's another one. These guys are trying to lawyer this, yet none of them are Korean. None of them are lawyers, and they don't even understand what the defenses are to this. They're trying to say, oh, well, it's a defense because she posted it in her Discord. No, it's not. Not at all. It doesn't matter who else posted it or showed it. You showed it. That's what makes you guilty there, my friend. You showed it and commercialized it. That makes you guilty. Even if they did it, you can't do the na. They point the finger and say they did it too. The speeding allegation, oh, I'm speeding, I get a ticket in my car. What about the guy who was doing more miles an hour than me? What about the other people that are speeding? That still doesn't get you out of the ticket. That still doesn't get you off. So that defense, I've already debunked that a lot, but that doesn't work. Another thing we have here is literally Johnny Somali himself, Somali Epstein, saying, I am guilty, find me. So he actually is doing two things. Number one.
Oh, so you admit you're finally guilty. Good to know.
He is confessing to guilt. So we can use this and show, hey, he's confessing to guilt. He's guilty. He thinks he's just going to get a fine. He thinks the Korean justice system is a joke. Well, hey, let's prove it's not a joke. Let's show this to the judge. Let's show this to the prosecutor and make sure they understand that he wants a fine. So let's not give him a fine. Let's give him jail time on everything. Let's make sure everything is aggravated because they all think this is going to be fines. Johnny thinks it's going to be a fine. His fans think it's going to be a fine. Let's show them it's real jail time. Here they go. They're shit talking Korea. They're shit talking the process. And they're trying to say, hey, nothing's going to happen. Well, no, indeed, things are going to be happening in this. Also, they have this weird defense they come up with on this page and the next here, where they try to say that they didn't shut down the ride at Lotte World for 30 minutes and therefore they're innocent. Unfortunately for Johnny Somali, that's not how obstruction of business works. So Johnny Somali is charged with obstruction of business at Lotte World for shutting down a ride. Now, this ride was shut down for a significant amount of time. I'm not sure whether it was 30 minutes or not, but that's not relevant. The law doesn't read 30 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think it matters the time. It matters that you shut down a ride, which is causing business to be disrupted. Disruption of business is pretty easy.
It's the law reads, if you disrupt the normal operations of a company, you are liable for obstruction of business. So Johnny Somali indeed did disrupt the normal operations because the ride was not supposed to stop. And he did the same thing on the bus, where he stopped the bus from moving for a very short period of time, but that's enough because
Again, disruption of business.
just messing up one bus messes up the entire system, the entire timetable. It makes people late. That is a disruption of normal operations. So he already pled guilty to the fact that even 30 seconds or a minute of disruption of a business is guilty for obstruction of business. And so him trying to plead not guilty in the Lotte World case because the ride wasn't shut down for long enough literally goes in the face of his own pleading guilty for the bus, which he's already done and he can't take back. He's already pled guilty to delaying operations of a bus, and that being
We help individuals and organizations.
Yeah. He pled guilty.
We're excited to offer
being culpable, right? And now he's trying to say, oh, it's different because it's a amusement park ride. No, it's not. It's still obstruction. He's going to be fully guilty on this count, and once again, probably get prison time for that. Also, he's trying to cover up the bong bong harassment. And why is he trying to cover it up? He's trying to hide it from Legal Mindset, from me. You can
Because he's also afraid. He's afraid. Yeah, he's full on afraid.
see here. Don't post in the general chat. I'm telling you, Legal Mindset is watching always. And Johnny Somali, Ramsey Khalid Ismail, confirms. He says, yeah, that's why I don't talk in there. So he's confirming that he is not talking because he is afraid of me. He's afraid of me big time when it comes to being exposed, when it comes to having potential issues. He is very, very afraid of things being exposed. We'll put it that way. All right, let me make sure I'm sharing this again. All right, there we go. Okay, so that's where we're at here with this side. Also, sorry if there's any lag here, guys. I am on my travel setup, so I'm trying to get this fast facts out to you as fast as possible. Okay, here we go. So see here, they're deleting stuff off the general chat because Andrew is going to do a stream. So they're afraid of me. They're trying to hide stuff from me. Once again, really crazy stuff. Also, harassment and bomb.
They just hear stream and then panic.
Bong server. So they were going into Bong Bong server with fake Legal Mindset profiles, pretending to be me, pretending to harass her, and sending information in there, trying to spam in there in her chat, trying to sex shame her. They've been doing that for quite a while, and it's been pretty consistent. So they've been violating Discord's terms of service by engaging in targeted harassment campaigns.
Yes, I have a situation like that. Also, telling you to go to another server to raid or harass is against Discord TOS and just, I think, TOS in general. So,
campaigns. They also have been trying to feed misinformation to me. I've talked about this over the past couple weeks. They've been trying to send emails to me, and they've been trying to, kind of catfish me with information because they think that I am going to publish something that has not been vetted. But the truth is that I would never put out information that I've not talked to people about or made an attempt to verify. I'm not just going to open some random email and trust it immediately. That's dumb. I would not do that. So they're trying to do that. They're also trying to intimidate me and scare me and say they're going to have people come to get me in Thailand and they think I'm going to bug out and do weird shit. Yeah, no, I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of little 5'2" Ramsey who's about the size of a girl and he can't even leave Korea. I'm not afraid of his basement dwelling, 3 simps. Clearly there's only like 2 or 3 people that are helping him here, which is kind of sad. I'm not afraid of any of these guys. They're in their grandmother's basement, probably looking worse than Hank and Somali combined. So yeah, I'm not intimidated by any of these guys, and they're not going to intimidate me in any way. They're also impersonating me. That's something they've been doing. They admit that they're having people go in acting like Legal Mindset, and they were only exposed. They were exposed almost immediately because she said, wait, prove that you're him, and they couldn't do it. So they're pretty dumb about that. They also are brigading my videos. They're going to report my videos for misinformation. They're using VPNs or using separate accounts to try to report me. And they're trying to come after me. Also, they admit that almost everybody in Johnny Somali's Discord is a lurker, spy, a Japanese person, or Korean, which is hilarious. It means Johnny has no real fans. They're also trying
That is kind of funny.
to collect evidence of defamation against me. First of all, my reporting is public interest reporting, which is protected under Korean law. I'll show you that, guys, that law in a second. Also, you can only sue for defamation if you have a reputation to protect, but Johnny Somali has no reputation to protect. His reputation is zero. It is horse trash. Therefore, there is nothing for him to actually protect because it's in the gutter, and that is completely his fault. They've been, you can see here they're trying to collect more defamation. You can see here the Korean law for justification, which allows true facts that are solely for public interest to be justified, so it's not defamation. I've talked to several lawyers, real lawyers, and they have all said, yep, this is clearly public interest. You're protected, so there's no defamation there. They're also trying to say that I doxed the lawyer by saying his name. This is kind of hilarious because they're trying to say I exposed his personal information. Well, guess what? Your name is not personal information. Personal information are things like your home address or your personal phone number, not your work phone number, your personal phone number. If you market yourself as a lawyer, your full name, and you put your name out there publicly, which this guy does. He does put himself out there publicly. He puts his name on his firm website. He's gone into court and publicly said his name. He's filed his name publicly with the court. His name is not private information. So them trying to attack me and sue me on that, it does nothing. It's not a claim at all. It's absolutely ridiculous. Right here is very funny. They actually said, oh, there's not going to be a charge for obstruction from Lotte World. This is right before I revealed there was going to be this is right after I revealed there was going to be a charge coming from Lotte World. And they said, no way, it's not going to happen. This guy's dumb. He's not 3 steps ahead. Well, guess what? I was 100% right. I was 100% proven right about the charges from Lotte World. We have a proof here that Johnny was mad, right? And all he was trying to say here, he was trying to say, hey, don't show them you're mad, Johnny. Well, guess what? We know, we all now know, all hundreds of thousands, millions of us are going to know that Johnny Somali was big mad, and that we are going to talk about that and expose that and have lots of fun doing it. Much more fun than Johnny is having in Hank's apartment. And last but not least, we got here the message, now I can say we're all trusted. So literally, this is the biggest irony because somebody from this chat leaked everything to me. And you see right here, good work, FLM, thank you so much. So once again, I live rent-free in Johnny Somali's head as the #1 opposition. Couldn't love it more. And if you guys love this video, make sure to smash the like button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
All right, so that's it. This is the channel, and I guess interesting how he has the North Korea as his server profile, as the server logo.
What you see.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, so it seems like they're just in disarray. Now he fake. Ah, I see. It is kind of funny. So, anyone else? This is just a bunch of Discord. It is kind of funny though. So I'm okay. Give me a second. I will another time since I think wait. Actually, I'll watch this one. Oh, this is Bong Bongs, right? Okay, okay. This one. Okay.
Bong bong. Look, we had an audio call at 4:49 p.m. I'm driving. I'm picking up Moxie at the airport. We had a phone call and she sent me some shit, nigga. She gave me some information, nigga. I'm like, getting a little call. I'm like, yo, send the address through. I've been smashing Bong Bong, you know what I mean, on the low a couple times, you know what I mean? Y'all think that campus shit was romantic, man. Hey, you know what I mean? That's my bitch, man. That's my bitch. I will leak the, let me see ones in the chat and I will leak the DMs of Bong Bong sending me the address. Can I see hello ones in the chat right now? I'm a leaker. Don't DM Johnny shit. I'm a leaker. All right, say less.
But
Chat. Wait. I gotta expose something. Let me show this.
Here's the thing.
Okay, talk.
Wasn't more than 5 years ago. If it was more than 5 years ago, it doesn't matter.
She's 29, so I don't think it was more than 5 years ago.
It's probably more.
All right, chat. Look at this. Read it and weep. Read it and weep, chat. Look at that. What is this, chat? I'm the snake? Am I the snake, chat? Read it and fucking weep. You think it was Gino who sent me the address? I've been fucking bong on the low. I've been fucking bong on the low. She can unsend DMs. So, oh, the police are here. Oh my God. As soon as the police pull up. And look who sent me the address. Bong IRL. Look at that. Read it and weep. Screenshot this and put this in Joel Discord. Send this to Joel. Hi, how you doing? Hello. Hi. No, not me. Him. This is crazy, chat. Look at this. Read it and weep, chat. Read it and weep.
제 친구.
China, 5-10 year visa. And we're gonna go to China soon. I promise you.
I don't think you want to.
If not this year, next year we're gonna be in China. Bong already sent me the VPN and everything. Actually, matter of fact, let me show you all them DMs while we're on our way to the comfort room. Let me show you the DMs where Bong said, "Show me your dick, Johnny." I don't know what that shit was about. I'm not gonna fall for it because I know she's trying to I think she's trying to get some police. Y'all think I'm capping? Wait till I show you this shit. This shit is crazy. What's up, niggas? What is this? Is it fire? What is this? What y'all doing over here? Whatever, niggas. These niggas don't want to talk to me. They track me. Who's talking? I'm effing. Hold up. Let me load this shit. I'm trying to load the DMs. Let me put this phone on the hotspot real quick. 1 second. Settings. Setting. Mobile hotspot. Wi-Fi, whatever. Mobile hotspot on. Let me connect the shit for 2 seconds real quick. Y'all should I'm lagging, really? 2 seconds. Settings. I gotta just show y'all this. Before we go, let me just show y'all this shit real quick. Settings, Wi-Fi. I'm not trying to expose Bong, but this shit is crazy. You know, Bong said I need Adderall bad. I don't have no Adderall. If I took Adderall, I'd be doing 24/7 stuff on fucking ice. That Adderall. Look. Let me find this shit. Look. Look what she said. So she's looking at the Korean websites. This is what Bong. Are we lagging? Can y'all see my shit or no? Are we lagging really? Okay, look what Bong said. Bong was like, she's looking at some Korean website about what people are talking about me. This what people say is crazy funny. Film Korean small dick. Compare with yours. And I was like, what, Joel's dick? And she said, oh, let's do it. Or Duran. Show your dick, Johnny. I'm curious. What the fuck is that? Y'all see what y'all think I'm capping on y'all? Show your dick, Johnny. I'm curious. What is that about? What does that mean, chat? Show your dick, Johnny. I'm curious. Yeah. And I told her straight up, I don't want to go to jail. Sorry. But she said she liked my content in Korea, so that's good. But, yo, I was like, yeah, I don't want to go to jail. You see what she said? Yo, show your dick, Johnny. I'm good. No, hell no. Hell no, nigga. Hell no.
Sorry to say, Johnny, but you're going to jail anyway. All right, that's the end of this stream for this week. Unless something crazy happens, I might no video. Unless something crazy happens, I will be back Monday with another video, either MADEIN or Johnny Somali related. Like the video, like the stream, or thoughts on the stream in the comments, and maybe subscribe if you like this Johnny Somali or MADEIN related as well. Until next time, I will see you later. Bye. Good man.
Welcome to the Blizzard Arena and the quest for
My stream freaking. Alright, now. There we go.
Welcome to the Blizzard Arena And the quest for a champion begins today.
The anticipation has been building, and it is finally time. We are live.
Are you
That is a really.
Can you get over the roof there?
Oh my! Oh my! What a play! What a grab!
Another jump here onto the high ground. Super goes forward, but gets stuck up. The EMP comes in, and ding! He rains down hell from above.
Here comes Pine. Gets one, gets two. Looking for a bit more, gets another one.
Tuno's down again. That heralds disaster generally for the fusion. They can't play one from far behind. Prophet! He's killed 4 players now on his own.
From Vancouver, locks him in the sound barrier. Sound.
It's a huge bomb coming in from John. Oh my God! He does it again.
Flutter now moving onto the Widowmaker, taking the clutch into his own hands. The headshot after headshot after headshot.
Okay, I like this for the Gladiators. We're going to try and circle around. I'm going to call this the merry-go-round because it makes me laugh. Makes me happy, and Sean Paul switches to the Widowmaker at just the right time. Oh, the Brandon!
I'm a best person in the world.
You could have told me that you spoke English, honestly.
The fans never thought they'd see this day. It took 43 matches. Feels like a really emotional moment here.
Sorry.
All right. See you later. Bye.